1983 or 2025, because I sense a World Cup winning campaign starting. Let's look at the differences and similarities between the two. Analyze like a Lindencomp teacher. First off, 1983. What's significant about that year? I'll give you a hint. It's the year that Indian cricket was truly born. If you guessed it, you're correct. That's the year that Kapil Dev made India World Cup winning champions. That was India's first time winning the World Cup. And since then, it's just been a long road of success. But the women's team has yet to achieve that. Though, noticeable mention to the women's team in the 2017 World Cup. That World Cup is very near and dear to all true cricket fans' hearts. Mithali Raj, during that era of cricket, that 2017 World Cup is really what ignited that spark, that World Cup winning path for the women's team. In the 2017 World Cup, the Indian women's team were dominant. Led by Mithali Raj, the women were on fire, winning almost every game. I think they just lost 2. And then losing to England in the final. And I believe the team was in a comfortable position too. Like India was like 133 for like 3 wickets maybe. And then one English bowler played an absolute spell, claiming 6 wickets in the next like few overs. And India was all out and they lost by 9 runs, I believe. It was a heartbreak. But that was when women's cricket in India, I feel like the women cricketer really realized like, hey, our country is watching us and our nation is backing up. Cue to 2025. The Indians women's team has had a hell of a World Cup campaign. And don't take that the wrong way. It's definitely not. Wow, voice crack. It's definitely not over yet. Let's review our season so far. We started off strong, beating our arch nemesis, Pakistan. Beating Pakistan convincingly. Men's team beat Pakistan, women's team beat Pakistan. It's tradition. But no hate, and let's not bring politics into it, even though politics always in. It's a rivalry. India, Pakistan, you know it, you get it. You love it, but I would say in cricket, that's not really the real rivalry I look forward to. But we'll see the real rivalry in a few games. Okay, skip ahead the next 3 games. England, Australia, South Africa. Loss, loss, loss. 3 losses in a row. Yeah, that was rough. Indian fans were worried. You come off, you start strong, and then you lose 3 games in a row. That puts us in a must-win situation against New Zealand. The Indian women's team pulls through, okay? Yes, we're all excited. We're in the semifinals now. Oh, our semifinal is against Australia, led by Elise Perry. Great. Anyone else having flashbacks to the 2023 T20 World Cup? But I believe something. I believe that from that game, the qualifying game against New Zealand, that something had changed in the Indian team. What hadn't been working earlier was that our batting order hadn't really been clicking. Jamie Rodriguez, Spriti Mandana, Harmanpreet Kaur was playing consistent, but these 2 players hadn't really clicked with their game yet, and they hadn't been batting to their greatest potential, because we've seen these players, they're match winners, they're game changers, and just they hadn't really been able to click yet. And sometimes this happened, but thank God they clicked in our do or die must-win situations, because in the game against New Zealand, these batters got up on their feet and they were ready to play. And since then, I knew, okay, something has clicked here. The team dynamic, wow, I'm stuttering so much. The team dynamic has changed. Something is going to be different here. And then the next game, the Indians women's team went out and absolutely destroyed Australia and qualified for the final. Oh my God, the Indian women's team are in the final. I cannot express how excited I am. I cannot go on about this enough. But here, let me tell you a little story. So when this match was happening, I was in school, right? And I was actively checking the scorecard, whatever. And I was prepping for my test. So I took a break for a little bit and I was making my studying and doing my note card and whatever. And then I was oh, I haven't checked the scorecard. And it was 11-ish. So I was okay, maybe the match is over. Maybe there's an over left. So I clicked the tab and I went, oh my God. And to the whole class, for the record. And my friend goes, oh my God, wait, what? What happened? I was the Indians women's team just qualified for the final. And she goes, oh my God. And we're both so happy. I'm ecstatic. I'm almost tearing up. I don't know why, but just this win felt so much more personal. And I feel I felt so much more happy that our women in blue qualified for a World Cup final than I did when the men in blue qualified for final. In this era of cricket, especially in men's cricket, India is one of the most dominant teams out there. We're a powerhouse. So it's almost become an expectation for the Indian men's team to qualify for the final every single ICC event we have. Champions Trophy, T20 World Cup, ODI World Cup. Look at the last three major tournaments. India has qualified for the final in each and won 2 out of 3 of the finals, November 19th. But that's okay because that's in the past. Now, with our women's team, it's not that they're not as good or as talented. Nothing of that. In fact, our Indians women's team is so talented and they have proved themselves and constantly backed themselves match after World Cup campaign. And it's just that cricket came to women's cricket in India wasn't as big as men's cricket in India in that era of time. And right now it's currently building. It's building up. But teams like Australia and England, women's cricket and women's sports in general had already been established there and were much bigger phenomenons, right? So they have a lot of history. They've been playing for a while, whereas we haven't been playing as long. But clearly it's time for some changes. Now, not only was that win amazing, first off, it was against Australia. You asked for a cricket rivalry. India-Pakistan is like an advertisement rivalry. India-Australia is the true cricket rivalry. I mean, those are two equally matched teams, and Australia is the toughest competitor out there. Kudos to you Australian fans, I guess. But they are truly, that is the team who will give India, let alone India, England, South Africa, will give any team a challenge. So beating Australia, ask any any cricket fan, it's an accomplishment. You feel good. So playing Australia in the semifinal and beating Australia in the semifinal, that's another level of accomplishment. Especially after in the 2023 T20 World Cup final, Elise Perry pulled off a hell of a stumping and India were cruising. But then she got Harmanpreet Kaur out, and then everything just kind of tumbled from there, and we didn't qualify for the final. But not this time. Now, I must say, Australia must have felt pretty confident looking at the total they set up. Australia set up around 331, I think. And what makes this semifinal even more significant is that India set the record. They set a new ODI record for chasing the highest total. The amount of I can't even imagine the pressure, right? Imagine you're Australian, you put 331, you're feeling pretty confident, oh, no one's chased this score before. And that can be nerve-wracking. But the Indian team, they knew it in their hearts that they could pull this off. And they had the confidence and they knew themselves as players to back themselves. And truly, that is what had them win the game. Now, the real superstar of the game is India's absolute gem. Get it? Jemimah Rodriguez. This is a player I love with my heart so much just because of her game, her personality, a very down-to-earth, very sweet person. And I felt so good seeing when she scored 121, I believe 121 off of 134. Amazing. It just felt so good. And then Harmanpreet too, also. India's captain has been consistent in almost every World Cup, in form, and always leads from the start. She doesn't just talk the talk, she demonstrates. She's hey guys, this is what we need to do. This is how we're going to do it. And she takes that action. And that's exactly what she did. She scored 70. She got the team off to a good, strong start. Her and Jemimah had a good partnership. And then Jemimah backed herself. She said, hey, I'm going to stick it out here and I'm going to stay until the very end. I want to finish this game for my team. That's exactly what she did. And especially if you look at Jemimah Rodriguez's reaction after she wins, the whole team's reaction is so wholesome. I've watched that video at least 1 million times already. That's where all the views are from. But the way that the whole team just erupts into happiness, knowing that they've qualified for the final. And you also have to think about the significance, right? This was a rough World Cup campaign. 1 win and 3 losses in a row against Sena countries. And these are the, highest teams. And these are the teams, the 3 teams that we lost to are the 3 teams that qualified for the semifinals. So these were the teams that we were going to have to play. Obviously, that's nerve-wracking, and having 3 losses in a row certainly does not help. But that's where being a true athlete comes in. That's where that mindset comes in. Mindset has an impact on everything. Being able to believe in yourself, even when things aren't going away, even when the circumstances are rough. Being confident in your abilities and being able to back yourself will go a long way. And the whole Indian women's team just proved that in the semifinal, and watch them do it again in the final. Okay, but knock on wood. I have wood down here, but everyone knock on wood, touch wood. Let's get superstitious. We don't want to jinx anything. But why was this win so significant, specifically for Jemimah Rodriguez? we saw her bawling, like tears coming out of her eyes. And you know, if you weren't a cricket fan or if you didn't understand the significance, you might think that's a little like, okay, that's a little overdramatic. It's not like she won the World Cup yet or anything. But if you look at her story, you'll really understand it. I mean, first off, just look at the game situation. You know, obviously any player feels good knowing that they were able to stay in there and play until the end for their team and win the match for them. Even when she scored a century, she didn't celebrate. She knew that this is a bigger deal for India and I still have a long way to go. We still have to win this match. Then she'll celebrate. And also looking at past experiences, right? The last World Cup campaign, Jemima Rodriguez was not selected. And obviously that hurts for a player. You know, like she wasn't in form and you never feel good when you're not selected for a World Cup campaign, especially if you had been playing good earlier. So being selected for this World Cup campaign meant so much to her. And the fact that she was able to prove exactly why she had been selected and, you know, all the tears and all the emotions, it really gets to you. And honestly, it was very wholesome to see. It felt good. Another person who has been waiting to World Cup a long time, our one and only captain, leading from the start, taking that charge, Harmanpreet Kaur. Harmanpreet Kaur played the 2017 World Cup under Mithali Raj's captaincy. The one that England pulled away from us just by a little bit, just by 9 runs. Harmanpreet Kaur has been waiting for that World Cup and she's hungry. And with her leadership, her determination, her athleticism, and her persistence and perseverance, she's going to lead our Indian team to that cup. So to our women in blue, wow, I'm stuttering so much. I'm just so passionate about this. And I don't know what it is about these women in blue, but I just feel so proud of them. And I just feel some kind of connection to them. I really don't know how to explain it, but it really just got me all emotional. And maybe I'm just a drama queen, which I am, but I don't know how to explain it, but I felt a connection. I was very proud there. And I've rambled so much in this video, so let me summarize it a bit. To our women in blue, we are so proud of you. I know this campaign wasn't easy. I know this World Cup season wasn't the easiest, you know, but coming back from those 3 losses against Senate countries, all those teams were in the semifinal, and backing ourselves to the very end, setting a new record for the highest runs chased in a women's ODI format is a huge deal and is a huge point of evidence of your character, your strength, and your determination. And I'm manifesting that good things come your way. And by this time, in 2 days, India will become World Cup champions. Is it 1983 or 2025? I don't know. You tell me. But it sounds like we're hearing 1983's theme track. I don't even know what I'm saying. But it sounds like 1983. It sounds like history is repeating itself.